Better on Draft fans, we truly appreciate you joining us each and every week as we go over the news and interview someone from the industry. If you subscribe to us on iTunes, please leave us a rating and review it. Helps us get our word out. Also, take this time to go to our Facebook and like it. Check out the daily lulls for lunch that Matt posts. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The name for all three is Better on Draft. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for video of every episode, youtube.com/Better on Draft, as well as check out our Untapped page for what we drank each and every Friday night under the name Bod Podcast. Also, you can watch us live and chat with us while we are live at twitch.tv/Bod Podcast every Friday from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Eastern. And no matter what you think of our show, we think it's Better on Draft.
The Better on Draft podcast is recorded live in Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, pop that 40 and kick back with your hosts, Dan, Nick, Ken, Rob, Matt, and Angela.
And we are live, episode 144, Better on Draft Podcast. My name is Ken, and we have no guest in studio today, but plenty to talk about. Let's go around, introduce ourselves. Rob, how's it going?
It's been an experience.
It's been an experience.
Welcome back. It has been an experience. Thank you. Back. It has been a couple weeks of just confusion and just bewilderment and just
Zenders?
Huh?
Zenders?
No Zenders. We still have not. Well, tomorrow we will see if we actually, in fact, we're not stopping in Frankenmuth. We actually, this will be the third visit going up to see our soon to be adopted daughter.
Nice.
And today or tomorrow we actually get a day pass, so we actually get to take her out of the facility, and we are actually going to be driving a little bit further south and actually coming back to Flint and doing a couple things, maybe going to the art museum out there and doing a couple things.
Nice.
They got one of them Chuck E. Cheese type places up in that area.
Take a red line. Shout out Red Line to the Brewing Company. Burn, Michigan.
No, it's right outside of Flint. There's a Chuck E. Cheese type like pizzeria with
shit! I know exactly what you're
Oh,
saying.
No. It's
Something Farm. Something Domino Farm?
No, it's like Huckleberry.
Huckleberry Farms.
No, it's not Huckleberry Farms. It's like Huckleberry. It's something like that. It's up in Flint. Nick, look it up.
I'll find it.
It's near Flint.
Chris Reynolds, what's it called? Text us in. Chris Reynolds, I know you're listening. You have no better thing to do with your Fridays.
Take them out there. Go have some pizza. Play some games. Watch some
Her.
Take her out there. Watch some game.
Yeah.
Play some games.
There'll be a lot of hers in this house. So
You knew what you were getting into.
I knew exactly what I was getting into. So pretty much we're gonna be, I'm probably gonna be the only male in the house, other than apparently the animals.
So are you just urinating outside at this point?
I'm just really making sure that the toilet seat's down.
It should be spring-loaded at this point, don't you think?
Pretty much. I mean, you would think, but
you would have to latch it to the lid, and otherwise unlatch and just keep it down at all times.
Pretty much.
Put like fishing rod anchors in there.
I mean, that's probably $1 million idea if you can figure out like a nice.
I've actually had 3 ideas that should have gone in one on Shark Tank. I had this whole Grubhub idea back in 2006, but I was discouraged about it because I was told there's a company like that called Flying Turtle in Mount Pleasant. So I had the idea to feed drunk people Taco Bell when they were already drunk years ago. My second idea, and I've already kind of lost the patent on this one, would be to put, I wear a lot of button-down shirts, but they always seem to bunch up again in the front. So to put little hooks on the last button of your button down so it stays taut and it doesn't
It
ride
just like
back
hooks into the
on
pants.
The front.
On the front.
So like where your button or your latch is up
Right.
front, it hooks right there. or it's a magnet that magnetizes itself to your fly, so it doesn't again roll up.
But I mean, the shirt couldn't be too long because I mean, not to quote, "I'm going to get you, sucker," but how you going to go to the bathroom with that thing? Because I mean, if it's too low, and then you're just like trying to unzip and do all this shit, and like your ass really got to fucking go.
All right, so
then you got a problem.
So
It's
ladies
ladies
currently listening, this is going to be a different problem.
It's got to be a snap.
No. So, if you're wearing a business attire, do you fully unbuckle or do you just unzip?
I typically just unzip.
So then you just spread the curtains.
Pretty yeah.
You don't. We're not talking. We're talking about like the last button.
But
we're
I'm
not talking
saying-
about
but
like
no,
we're not
but
talking
I'm
about the
saying-
fly at the bottom of the shirt.
But I'm saying if the shirt is too long, then the shirt now becomes the additional curtain.
All right, so that was number two.
Anyways.
What else did you have?
Come back.
All right.
I've had a third.
Rob, what are you drinking?
I started off with Sierra Rose Peach Hard Cider, which I'm not sure I'm okay with right now. I love their watermelon one, so I'm just trying all of them right now. And
I didn't mean
peach
to.
is kind of eh. And right now I have the Perrin Caribbean Nights, or Caribbean Nights, depending on how you feel, and Founder's Better Half.
Australian for beer.
Yeah.
This smells raw.
I'm trying the after apparently 6 years of this now is coming out, so I figured I'd grab a 4-pack of it and see what this stuff is about. And it smells
Thank you.
every bit of an old ale.
Man,
Baby, I like it raw.
Nick, what's going on?
what's going on, man?
You ready for Lions football?
I am ready for Lions football. I am so ready for football to start.
Preseason needed to end
Yeah, it
fast.
dragged on forever.
I didn't even bother. Like I get score updates because I have a if this and that set up on
Yeah.
my phone.
Yeah,
And I just saw like score. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
But then I saw who was playing. I'm like, I don't even know half these names.
Yeah, I was like, me and my fiance were at the game at Jimmy John's Field last night, and it's same thing, just update after update after update. Cleveland scoring. It's like, yeah, this is going to be an interesting season.
Well, I mean, Cleveland went 4-0 last preseason, so you
yeah, and
see how
then
that
we
turned
all
out for
worked
us.
that. It all worked out very
Fun
well.
fact:
for them.
Bill Belichick has a losing preseason record.
Really,
He does.
that's very interesting.
So, I'm not overly concerned, but I am relatively concerned.
I am relatively concerned
If we lose to the Jets, I'm saying 4-12. If we beat the Jets, I think we have a chance.
I actually have them going 8-8 this year.
That's
It always takes that first game to get the jitters out.
I have one rule. You can never say 7-9, 8-8, or 9-7.
No, because if you really look, I know it's probably
That is to ride the fence.
No, it's not ride the fence because I objectively tried to figure out which
I remember
games
when
they.
Riding the Fence was saying they were going 4-12.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, riding the fence
5-11.
Could they be good? Could they winning record on losing record?
No,
That's
Yeah,
right.
but at
I'm trying to-
1.5 wins was considered like a winning record
Yeah.
for the Lions.
I try to objectify every game that they have on their schedule, and I can only conclude reasonably that the best they can really do is 8-8.
I disagree.
You think they're going to do worse?
I think they could. I think they're either going to go 5-11 or 11-5.
Isn't that technically riding the fence
that's-
by
No.
giving both answers?
Yeah.
No, I think if they
If you cut it in the middle, it's 8-8.
So
So,
hold on, no. If they lose to the Jets a week from Monday, they'll go no better than 5-11. If they beat the Jets, then they'll go 11-5.
No, they won't.
Let's do a beer over.
All right.
under.
Hold on, I gotta swallow this damn food.
That's what
well,
she said.
you were talking.
I know. So
This is your introduction. I still haven't gotten
yeah,
to
I
what
know.
you're drinking yet.
Really, and I'll really make one point. Yeah, I know. Shut up. The Lions are known to get at least one crazy ass victory that they should not have earned or deserved.
Like in the 0-16 season.
Like in the yeah. Like against a team that they should not be beating, i.e., the Patriots. Not to say that they're going to beat the Patriots.
they ever
I
beat-
think the Patriots are going to destroy
He's
them.
saying this year they're going to beat the Patriots.
No, they're not, they're going to get their asses kicked, and we're going to be kicking back, drinking beer that night.
Oh, we're going to be drunk before
We're
we
going to
even
be
get to the
drunk
game.
before that game even starts.
8 hours of tailgate.
Oh
before we
yeah,
go.
cannot wait, especially the night of drinking beforehand.
Yeah, I can't get. No, we're either going to lose to the Jets and have a dumpster fire of a season, or we're going to come out fire blazing, shut out the Jets, win by 30, and run train.
Didn't your boys they'll start out blazing, start the beginning of the season 6-2 one year? What happened that
Yeah,
year?
they went 1-7
You know what
for the
happened?
remainder.
Javid Best had a little hello with the concrete floor, and he stopped talking. And now he's running slack with the
Anyway.
Bahamas.
I'm trying to think of who it was, but I remember somebody on the Lions team, and I'm pretty sure it was some wide receiver, like a white wide receiver. So it wasn't Johnson, Williams, or anything like that. And he goes, "We're 6-2. What now, media?" And then we proceed
Is
to
it
go
David Kirkus?
1-7. I don't think it was
Kirkus
Circus
Circus?
Kirkus. It might have been, but now that
or
now
Chris
that-
Durham.
no, it wasn't
Chris
Chris
Durham.
Durham. We'd have to go back. Nick, what are you drinking?
Starting the double. Well, I guess you could say triple, but I don't know about that better half. But I got the Pigeon Hill, your mother on French toast, and I pulled something out from the fridge. It's been sitting there for a long time, but I got Dragon's Milk High Gravity Series
2013.
from 2015.
I can't read.
Haven't tried it yet, so
I'll take some of that.
yeah, get in there.
Yeah, that's what she said. I'll
Get
let
in
you
there.
do it.
Well,
So we'll find out how this is here right now.
Matt, how are you doing?
What's going on, Ken?
I'm all right.
Not bad, actually.
What are you drinking over there, Ken?
I have a Diet Verners. I'm the one with the Diet Verners.
Taking Matt's
I've got
position
a
there.
The Diet Verners is proliferating.
a whiskey and Diet Verners
I'm
sitting
an
right next to
influencer
me.
now, huh?
Yes.
I'm an influencer. Holla at me at Instagram. I got this. I've converted 100% of my followers already.
Wow.
I don't even think I follow you on Instagram.
No, but I have. The thing is, I have like one follower, so you equal 100% of them.
Fair. Fair. So I got that, and then I'm just kind
What,
of
what kind of? Well, we don't usually drink liquor on this show. So what are you mixing it with?
Red Bull.
Diet Verners.
Oh, it's just. straight- I thought you had a little bit of whiskey in there.
There's whiskey in there.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
got
know.
whi-
It came from a Stormtrooper decanter. I don't know what
Oh.
kind it is.
Oh, does it smell fresh or
Yeah. It smells good. Doesn't miss.
doesn't miss?
Doesn't miss.
There we go.
Nick figured it out.
Yeah.
Doesn't miss.
The pun.
Oh,
was
the
very-
arrow. The arrow.
No.
I don't know.
Stormtroopers.
Oh,
It doesn't.
yeah.
confuse you.
Every shot misses.
It's like
It's true.
Men in Tights.
What are you drinking over there?
So I tried this better half, and it was just way too boozy and hot for me.
Really?
Maybe it needs to age a little bit, but
Oh man, that's
No.
so just kind of a foreshadowing for earlier. I'm drinking a tall boy of Keystone Ice, gentlemen.
so. You got some Ice House for us.
No Ice House.
Yeah, you're gonna feel
This is
feel
about
bad
as-
for yourself.
This is about as low it's gonna go. I of course have the Diet Verners, and
course.
then I just poured some of that Dragon Milk's 15.
what do you think of it?
I haven't cleaned my palate enough to finish it, but
Okay.
I'll give you a quick bridge notes real quick.
I know Rob had some, and Ken, you looks like you got some. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's
Oh, that's smooth.
Yeah,
It's smooth.
This is really
Yeah.
good.
There's no booze. It tastes like a stout would with that little hint of bourbon.
barrel. Yeah.
I'm trying to think when I mean, obviously back then, but I'm trying to remember, like, was it for the show that I got this and we never got to it back at the Ferndale studio, or
That's probably true.
or if it's just, I saw it and I heard about it and I wanted to give it a try. I'm sure all the beer cellar people would probably kick my ass for saying this. This has been sitting in my fridge.
So I've got great news. If I can interject real quick.
Go for
You
it.
save
Go
money
ahead.
on car insurance.
Yeah,
Switching to
15%.
Geico?
Okay, just-
Actually, we added 15%. To the featured breweries of the Jimmy John's Beer Brew and Fall Fest. So
This is super exciting.
again, Saturday, October 13th from 4 to 9 p.m. at Jimmy John's Field. That's at on Auburn Road. So that's like the M59 service drive between Utica, Van Dyke, and Mound area. We're co-hosting our first event, the Beer Fest at Jimmy John's Field. Brewfest tickets are $30. That includes 10 3-ounce pours, and you get a souvenir pint glass of one of the baseball teams. If you are a DD, you can come for only $10. That includes unlimited soft drinks, water, and a complimentary pumpkin. That does
nice.
not mean you are given a DD. That just means you are the DD for the group of people.
I like we have to stress that now on like every event that we plug now.
So the breweries we have 26, actually, believe it or not, that we got on.
That was up from like 20 last
Yeah,
week.
so Midland, Sherwood, Brooks, New Belgium, Blake's, Founders, Crankers, Drafting Table, Eastern Market, Brew Detroit, Bells, We're bringing Bee Nectar.
Wow.
Arbor's coming, X-Fermentation, Rustic Leaf, Cellarman's. We're also bringing our friends at Dearborn Brewing. Latitude's coming, Arboret's coming, Dragon Meat's coming. We just got Old Nation coming, committed this week. North Center Brewing Company in Northville, Michigan, just south of Baseline Road, just north of Baseline Road.
South of Baseline Road.
One of them. We're bringing in Oddside out of Grand Haven. River Rouge, really good friends of the show down the street. River's Edge. And I just got word that Fillmore 13 is also coming. So
Wow.
it's a great plethora of breweries from, your big guys like Bells and Founders to your small guys like River Rouge.
Fillmore 13.
People just starting out. So wherever you are on the beer spectrum, if you're just trying to start something or you want to get experimental,
This is probably the event to do it.
and there's something for everybody. There's meads, there's ciders, there's beer. So if you're gluten intolerant or you just don't like beer, we're going to have 4 different companies that sell meads and ciders. So there's going to be plenty for everybody. Come, enjoy.
We will be there.
We'll be there. Come support us because if this goes really well, we're going to have more fests going on, which is more outreach to you and more opportunities for you to get introduced to the brewers specifically because we know you like to drink their beer, but you also want to talk to these guys. You guys are probably
and they love talking to you.
and you guys are probably fanboys just like we are. So, this is the first of many things that we're going to do. So come out, support us. Say hi, and then maybe we can do some more stuff down the road and really bring the community together.
They have some kind of disc golf event going on there that day too, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have a ace run going on during that time.
Ace race? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
and the
Nope,
first-
ace run.
Ace run.
I learned that ace race is trademarked by Discraft, so it is an ace run.
Okay.
And it's
Sorry,
the-
Discraft.
It's the first hole that goes from owner's suite to the pitcher's mound.
Really?
So very interesting throw for that first one. Something you're gonna get at like Toboggan or Kensington, where it's a really really hilly type course. But yeah, so you've got your Keystone Ice. We've got our beer festival.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm super excited for it. We have at least 2 new games starting. We have Drinko coming out.
Drinko?
We have Drinko coming out.
Is it like?
We have the Wheel
Is
of
it
Misfortune.
Like Plinko?
Will.
The
And-
Wheel of Misfortune.
Are we gonna
Wait,
are we gonna
this is-
sample
this
that
is-
in studio before the
Right. This is happening during the beer fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to attend.
It's too far north in Macomb County for you,
It's not that. It's my wedding anniversary.
but it's also Macomb County.
It'll be my 1 week anniversary.
I'll tell you what.
I've been going quote up north 4 weeks in a row.
I'll tell you what. I will bring in a game for you the week prior. We need to get the bugs
The
out,
Friday,
right?
are you gonna be there the Friday before? Here the Friday before?
More than likely. I mean,
Well,
we're
then, all right, we'll sample it.
I
We'll try it out then.
I still have to talk to Dina about it, but she
Might
had
come to the beer fest.
No.
See, does she drink
Not-
beer?
Not
No, she
that
doesn't
beer
drink at all.
fest, but there is the beer fest,
Probably a
the
good
beer fest that is going on at the Detroit Boat Yard or Detroit Boat Club.
Yep.
And she did say that she wanted to go to that.
No, she can't. You can't double time us. Sorry, Dina. That's been vetoed. I'm interjecting your relationship right now.
During our anniversary, we do Detroit things. It's in the city. She's gonna overrule you on that.
Dina, you're fired. But okay, so I tell you what. The last couple of weeks, I have to work on I have to build these games, and I'm not mechanically inclined in any way, shape, or form. So that'll be the interesting part.
You're talking like full fabrication of
Yeah,
these?
there
It'll
needs
be
to
like
be-
carpentry type.
I'm
like
gonna
with
have to do.
wood.
There's
and-
gonna be supply wood involved.
Wow.
Because I'm gonna have to get a wood
You're gonna need like an 8-foot sheet.
No, I'm gonna just
Beyond
need like a
that.
4-foot radius thing that I can spin and go.
But I mean the
That's the Wheel of Misfortune.
yeah, the wheel.
Yeah.
But the other thing.
the Plinko, the Drinko.
The Drinko.
Yeah,
No, we can make a Drinko. You
No,
remember
he's
penny
like a
hockey?
bottle cap or something.
You
like
remember?
that.
You remember
Or ping
penny
pong
hockey
ball,
from
one or
elementary
the
school? You don't remember?
Yes, I'm old enough. Fuck you.
Penny hockey. Penny hockey's only about this big. It doesn't have to be that big.
He
So-
told you.
We will have games will be involved. Something is afoot. We will also have a scavenger hunt.
Oh, the scavenger hunt's back.
Yeah, so we're gonna really push the scavenger hunt, and we might give away tickets for whoever has the most points in the scavenger hunt as well. For a coming up beer fest, also. So
Guess I'm Ubering to that event.
sign up now, or
Ride
not
my
sign up.
bike.
Go to uspbl.com or just Google Jimmy John's Fall Beer Fest and buy tickets now while you still can. They don't have that many, so I would encourage you immediately.
Get them now before they sell out.
Yes, and you have to call us and say, "Hey, Matt, Ken, Rob, Nick, can you
You're
please
a piece of shit.
can you please get us tickets for your awesome beer fest?" Yes, we can, but we'll see what we can do.
So we don't have a guest today, but I kind of wanted to open up a discussion and try to get
Open it up.
do a little Logan here.
What's Logan?
Let's get a little origin story.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's kind of start because we all, mind you, me and Nick have known each other for an extremely long time, but Matt and Rob are kind of new in regards to this. So Rob, how did you get into craft beer? Like, what was your introduction into craft beer? What was your first craft beer, or what was your first oh, that's a brewery that doesn't sell Budweiser, or when the waitress is naming every single light and non-light lager, and then they randomly say Dragon Mead Final Absolution, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
So my introduction into craft beer pretty much it essentially it started right when I turned 21. I was at a party at a friend's house, and there I was just finally deciding to not necessarily be Mr. Goody Two Shoes anymore and stop waiting to have my first beer. And I sat there and I had the loveliest bottle of Molson Ice. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my entire life. And I kept thinking to myself, this is the shit that I waited for to turn 21.
So did you not have any alcohol or any beer? And I'm not talking like church wine. I'm talking, or
Wow, that's racist. That is racist.
all
Because he's black, he has church wine?
Now that's racist. You don't get to
No,
steal
I was
my
gonna
fucking
say
line.
that's did you not go to church as a kid and have wine?
First of all, I was Lutheran, so no, I didn't. You're prohibited from being confirmed until you're in 8th grade for some reason.
Ours
think-
was 9th, but we had something in seven. No,
You had communion in
communion in
2nd grade, 'cause
seventh.
you were
Seventh.
Catholic,
Yes.
right? So you had communion when you were 7, and then you had confirmation later on. Us Lutherans, they didn't do the whole communion thing. They're just like,
Blood and
you're
body.
either in or you're out. It's similar to what our friends out in Israel do. Once you're 13, you're a real boy, and you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
So was that Molson Ice your first alcoholic drink?
That
or-
was not my first alcoholic drink. My first alcoholic drink, I was probably 8 or 9, and our mom used to make fuzzy navels for New Year's, and she would basically give us a tiny sip of those, and that would basically be it. So I had the Molson Ice. I got home. I called my older brother Brian. And I was like, dude, I just had this Molson Ice. It was disgusting. I was like, why do you drink beer? And the first thing he said was, that shit wasn't beer. I don't know what the fuck you're drinking. So next time I'm home, we're gonna go actually get you some real beer. So came home from school. We went out, and he picked up this stuff. It was called Dragon Stout. And it was just a stout that was actually made in I think it's made in Jamaica. It's under the Heineken umbrella now. I think it's actually still made. And I had that, and I was just kind of blown away. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty decent. And it just kind of went from there, that he then would introduce me into Bell's. And I've had at that point the the Expedition Stout, one of the stouts. Can't remember which stout it was. It was it was the oatmeal stout. It was back when Bell's, when they were making the oatmeal stout, that they didn't even have a design on the label. It was just a white label that just said oatmeal stout on it.
You're that old?
Yes, I am that old. So we had that.
Did they buy the oatmeal straight from the Quakers?
I wasn't allowed to be around the Quakers.
Oh, wow,
Get
that's-
your history right. So we had that. And then I was introduced to the cherry stout, and that had pretty much just become my favorite at that point. I kind of kept it, kind of simple in the younger days, and just kind of messing around with the cherry stout. I'd kind of go back to I guess would be considered macro, being the obligatory Honey Browns, because Honey Brown was
Oh yeah, I remember Honey Brown.
Loved Honey Brown.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had that. But I remember.
I've had it. Like back when I was like 22, 23, like when
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking like Killian's or Guinness, like I would definitely go for the honey brown.
When I was working at the Mongolian Grill in Grosse Pointe, now closed. Now it's a Big B, I think. Anyway, there was one of the waitresses' fathers. He would always come in, really good friend with the owners and all the wait staff and all the kitchen staff. He would always drink honey brown. I'm like, wondering, I've never heard honey brown before, ever.
Huge.
Ever. First time I
Loved it.
heard of it was working at that restaurant.
Always drinking honey brown. And then, I mean, pretty much it was like honey brown and Newcastle. I was drinking a lot of honey brown, a lot of Newcastle. And then, you know, roughly, what I would say maybe 6 years ago was when I was really kind of looking at and finding out about these beer groups and, you know, seeing more of the variety and diversity that was in craft beer, that I just kind of said, you know what, I need to really start getting back into, you know, these different beer flavors and wanting to try these things out. And I just never stopped since. So that's where I am.
What was the first beer you just had to get? Like you heard of it on one of these groups or the lore? Like obviously I think a lot of people, the big first lore a lot of people hear is Sam Adams' Utopias. But what about like what was your big get that you wanted, that you heard so much about from a friend or from your brother or from one of these groups?
The big get at that time, actually were two. Was Bell's Black Note Stout, which the first time I had that was at where was I? I think I was in Ipsy. I was at some restaurant and they had it, and I was just completely and utterly blown away by that. So just trying to find that it felt like a 2 years long endeavor just to even get a bottle. So it was pretty much that, and I guess in a video game sense, that was the main quest. The side quest, the side quest, which I was always stuck on, was trying to get KBS, and I just kept hearing everybody talk about KBS, and I just like, yeah, I at that point I'd already had the Black Note, and I had a pretty good idea, at least I thought a good idea of what a stout that was aged in bourbon barrels tasted like, but everybody seemed like they kept trying to find KBS. So I was like, well, geez, I need to find one of these. And when I had joined DACB, within the first week, I basically had posted up the question, you know, where can I find this? And one of the guys had just generously offered me up a bottle. I kind of graciously declined. I said, you know, that's great. I really appreciate it. I don't want to take from your stash. I really just, and you know, I'm not asking for a handout or anything for free. I just really want to know where I can find this. And you know, they were pretty good to help out and help me locate it. So, you know, I found it, I had it. I didn't think it was better than Black Note. I thought it was good. I was kind of pissed at the journey that I was looking for this beer. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a good beer, and this year's is probably one of the best ones of the best versions of KBS has come out. But at that time, you know, that being around 2014, I just thought, okay, this is decent. I don't know if it was really worth the $8 that I paid for it for that one bottle, but you know, it's okay.
Matt, what about you? Because you've had such a different journey going to Powers before you even came here, and you weren't really big on craft beer before you even joined the show.
Yeah, I'm still not, to be honest.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah, we know.
I'm German, so I grew up drinking, like, at a young age. We would all gather for breakfast or for lunch on Sundays, and my grandfather would pour everybody a shot of Christian Brothers, and I'd be floored, and he'd say, put your pinky in it and tell me if it's okay. So, you know, I was, you know, starting young and ripe. I think my first real bridge into craft beer was at Central. Mountain Town Station makes what I think is one of the best beers, their raspberry wheat. And I remember my 21st birthday, that's what I got myself, is a keg of raspberry wheat. Me and my 4 friends attacked it for an entire weekend. And all we did was play beer pong and drink what was at that point raspberry iced tea. I mean, but it's at the same rate. It was still easier, and I've always thought of beer as more of a luxury item, and I've never considered Sam Adams any better than Busch Light. And I know we're probably going to get a bunch of Rob's leaving on that one, but we're going to get a lot of fanboys saying
Just sneezing.
Busch
That
Light
was just
versus
good
Sam
timing.
Adams.
Just
That's
good
crazy.
timing.
But if I can get a 30-pack for $13, why would I pay for a 12-pack for the same amount?
Well, we've talked the economics of beer, and are you drinking to get drunk, or are you drinking for taste?
But even I guess I graduated college in 07 with a liberal arts degree. You can't really do much with a liberal arts degree in the worst economy in 80 years, 90 years. So it really isn't much of an option. So I mean, I drank Bass along the way, which I didn't mind. I think it really, I had a crash course when I did go to Powers, because when you work at that distributor, and I don't know if John Brennan is listening or if he ever has even heard of it, but if you want a job in the beer business, John Brennan at Powers Distributing is the one to contact. Jay Brennan at powersdistributing.com. He will teach you everything you need to know. He will be like a father to you, and he will be just a gracious steward to you in the business. And he taught us how to brew beer. He taught us what different flavors were. There's that dichotomy out there that you see of ales and lagers, and the tree spreading out. And I credit it to fruity beers as much as people want to get mad at fruity beers. But without fruity beers, I wouldn't have drank in raspberry wheat, which I generally like raspberries, and I wouldn't have drank something like Summer Shandy, which would have gotten me taught to Canoe Paddler, which is a rye wheat beer from Leinenkugel, which got me into the rest of craft beer. Everyone in the industry thinks craft beer is a journey where you start in your most basic and you get to your most, barrel age experimental. And unless you find your rung to get into that, area, you'll never get there. So you just need to find that. And as bad as they get dogged on, fruit beer was the way for me, because I never drink beer because I like the taste of it. When I was 16, I was drinking Heineken's because I learned how to not breathe when you drink beer, so it doesn't taste gunky.
All right. I mean, there was nothing wrong with a Leinenkugel Berry Weiss.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely not.
It's a decent beer. I mean, it was fine.
And you know what? It gets you there, and then you could say, okay, well, I like that. Let's try the vanilla Java Porter.
Right.
And it's a vanilla dark beer, and it's like, okay, cool, this is great. So what other wheat beers or porters do I like?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, you try them and you see where you like it. I was probably way too lucky when I was 18 that for graduation present, I got flown to Germany to just learn where my family came from, because we're straight off the boat Germans. So I went through Germany, drank every kind of beer in every province, or whatever you want to call it, states, whatever you want to call it, London, as they would call them. And a lot of the stuff that Travis comes on our show, Travis Fritz talks about, I've had those beers. I've eaten in those little places, and it's absolutely fantastic. But when that's your worldview is yellow German beers, regardless of how good they are, that's all you know. So, I mean, I'm only now beginning to drink and even appreciate stouts, because for 28 years of my life, 30 years of my life, really, it's been about Michelob's and Pilsners and Labatt, stuff that is yellow and fuzzy and gets you drunk at 5%, and you can go from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. drinking the exact same thing, and the next day you might not function entirely the same way, but that's what you do.
But I guess that's one of the things that I was never a fan of. It was just drinking all day. It was just I want a beer that is going to be the taste that I want, and the beers that I want are a little higher in ABV.
But see, I think my premise has always been like you go to a party, right? Or you go to a barbecue, you get there at 1, the first thing someone says, hey, come on in, do you want a beer? And you don't stop till dinner or past dinner, and you just keep, grab another beer when you're out, grab another beer. You pace yourself and you're responsible, but it's still that same lawnmower beer, that all-day hall beer. Mm-hmm. Whatever else we called it, we've called it lawnmower beer and all that other stuff.
Yeah, crushable.
Your crushables,
Yeah.
you know, the stuff that you can drink. It's pretty much water.
Yep.
You maintain a buzz, but you don't like shotgun it, so you're not doing anything
You're not
silly.
getting absolute shit faced at that point.
Hey, you have your responsible pace, and you do it. You know,
Yeah.
M43 is crushable.
So between Powers and Better on Draft, what was a beer that like truly surprised you that you were like, oh, I'm gonna hate this beer? Because you always at least try a little, no matter what. You always at least try a little. Like these beer festivals that we've taken you to, the show, being at Powers, and obviously having to try a lot of the product just so you know what you're talking about. You know, what was something that just shocked you that you couldn't like?
So I have two of them, and they go opposite ways.
That's fine.
So as I've told you before, copious amounts of time, my favorite beer, my favorite summer beer is Sheboygan Blood Orange Honey.
Yeah.
Bingo, right? And I remember going out with.
And you're gonna absolutely love having them on here.
No,
in a couple of
well, so
Yeah.
they probably won't. If they might come on if they hear the story.
No.
But
I'll
my
get ready with the drop button.
Ready?
girlfriend at the time, she had her friend up from Tampa, and I said, "Hey, this is the greatest beer you'll ever have." We were here in Royal Oak. We went to the party store, we got it, and it tasted like really bad red wine. And I was like, "This is not reflective of the beer," but it kind of turned me off to it for a minute because it was just so. I don't know if it was out of date or if it was a bad batch, but it tasted really like a Cabernet Sauvignon, like a red wine, like dry cream cheese, which is why I don't like red wine. But that's
Right.
what it tastes like.
Right.
But on the good side, I think you were even there for it. What got me into stouts and just dark beers in general was Eastern Market. We tried to have our first event ever at Eastern Market for the Lions Bears tailgate. You and I went to that football game,
Yes.
didn't we? And as we were leaving, they said, "Hey, try this new coffee stout." And I said, "Listen, I don't like stouts, so I won't like this. So don't waste your 2 ounces on me." And he says, "No, it tastes just like cold pressed coffee." And I said, "Fine, I'll take it." And I drank it, and I was like, my eyes were opened up to this light, crisp stout that I had never had in my life. And I still think, like, we were joking on the boards this week, like
Yeah.
their white coffee
Their
stout
white
is the
coffee.
same thing. It's just, different malt, but it has the same coffee and crispness. Like,
yeah, that stuff is absolutely amazing. And I told Dane when I was in there on Wednesday, I said, you need to can and distribute this because this stuff is amazing.
They need to put like Ugg boots on that and like pumpkin spice it and just call it white girl latte.
took me a second. I'm like, Ugg boots, and I wasn't following. And then you said pumpkin spice. I'm like, ooh, I know where you're going now.
But like it really was like he said it's like cold pressed coffee, and I
My
drink
God.
a cold coffee at least once, if not once every other day at the absolute latest. And that's exactly
I
what
mean,
it was.
that pretty much that.
Had you not told me that was an alcohol, and you told me that was just like Dunkin's new incarnation on beer or on coffee, I would have said cool, and then I would have had like 2 or 3 of them because that's my daily ritual is 2 or 3 beers.
Right.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
2 or 3 coffees rather than
And I
beers.
mean-
and
and I
I'd be
mean, this
drunk
one-
like, hey, what'd you give me? Like, oh, that was beer. We fooled you. And I'm like,
Oh,
you win.
Yeah, no, and I mean this one was pretty much just like that too. Is that I mean the malt on this was just it was there and you could taste the caramel malt from it, but it was just so balanced with the coffee that it was just like it was like you just threw a little bit of creamer in there, and it's just so smooth.
The thing about it is, I've had their white stout or their white coffee stout before, and I don't know if it's the same inclination, but you look at it and you think it's just going to be a yellow beer, and you don't expect neither the coffee nor the stout.
Right? No,
It's literally it's like from the upside down. Mm-hmm. I'll grab this Pilsner, and then it tastes like you said, like a vanilla latte or like a latte.
right,
Right.
And it's like, wait, this, does not compete.
right, exactly. No, and it is like I said, it is amazing. It is amazing, and hopefully they will be able to just can and distribute that stuff. 'Cause
Well, what
it
about you,
needs to
Ken?
be
I
out
know
there.
that you were a Killian's guy, which was your bridge to what you thought was craft beer. But
Yes.
what was the first craft beer that you like sought out, or like someone handed to you at a party, and then you thought to go find it the next time you went to a bar?
For me, so obviously Killian's was like my introduction into non-lager beers, not my non-Bud Light, because
That was at Snookers, right?
Killian's.
Probably a bowling alley.
Snooker, was it
No,
there or
Augie's.
Augie's?
Augie's.
It was neither. It was actually my managers at my old job who would give
Laser
me
Quest?
beer. Yes.
Across from Augie's.
Yeah, who would give me beer when I was not of age.
Oh,
Shame on you.
I know my mother's probably listening. She's gonna hear
Patty,
a lot
block
right
your
now.
ears.
too late.
So
What's our time frame? Do we have like a 30-second dump or?
no, we have no dumps.
Oh.
We actually
This is a podcast. There ain't no.
So yeah, I'll edit it out later. Well, she doesn't listen. She only listens live. So
Come on. You're 30. She can't hold you against things that happen like. 10
you
years
should
ago.
hear the things that like I got away with that she didn't know until like a decade later, and she's like,
I'm just
what
waiting
the
for her
hell?
to send me a message on Facebook. Ken drank when he was that young.
Yeah, you were there.
Was I there?
Sometimes.
You're the one that made.
shit.
You're the one that made him look 21.
I'm barely older than him.
No, I know. But
Yeah, he was making a reference to how young
You're missing
he
it,
looked.
Rocky.
God.
So
Finish up.
Continue.
So Killian's was definitely my introduction, but in regards to an actual physical craft beer, there's got to be two different ones that I would drink. Because after Killian's was Guinness, and I'm still not even 21 at this point.
Come on, we all drank before we were 21. Don't tell me about. Don't let me make you tell. Don't make me tell you about all the ribbons on Michelob Light Lager and all those wine coolers that I used to drink.
So well, I was a liquor drinker before I turned like 18, for sure. I was definitely that kid.
Were you the kid that killed the fifth in front of everybody and being really impressive, and then?
No, so I was never that bad because everyone else would drink so fast, and I wouldn't want to drink. Like I was definitely a 7 and 7 type guy, so I'd want to like a mixed drink.
I was always
Yeah,
afraid.
I
Of,
remember
I was
that.
always afraid of getting drunk and puking and being that guy because not till I was like 20 did I learn how to puke and rally. So I only like drank really slowly with your macros. So I didn't like upchuck and like I could never like chug beer till I was like 20 or 21, where I just lost all shame in my world.
So I wish Dan was here because the story does involve Dan.
Yeah, he would have tested it.
And you're talking about the guy who would, chug the liquor just to chug the liquor. I had a friend who did that with 151. And we were seniors in high school, so this would have been 2004.
Yeah, I had a girl at the last day of my freshman year bong a pint of Captain Morgan Spice Rum right in front of me.
That is, both of those are
and
bad internal
She
career
was
moves.
beautiful.
Wife material there.
Had we not been 18, yes.
After all that, the first real there's definitely two craft beers that kind of got me into there's different craft beers,
Real
and that
craft
was
beer?
real craft beers. Yes, so Ghetto Blaster
Okay.
from Motor City Brewing Works,
Yes.
and Final Absolution from Dragon Mead, and those two beers probably spell out maybe the first 5 years of me drinking, other than what I tried in other states. So as I was drinking, I was still trying beers in other states, and that's how I had a fond for Fat Tire. Before Fat Tire got into Michigan, New Belgium got into Michigan, I would actually go to Indiana to buy cases of Fat Tire to bring back.
Right.
And while I was in Michigan, I was still just drinking pretty much just Dragon Mead. Like Dragon Mead, rarely did I ever go to Kunin at that point even. I think
See, that was way too rough for me. Like I remember going to I saw Justin Verlander throw an almost no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Dragon Mead. Like my friend and I went there. It was probably some June day, and like he literally pulled a no-hitter into the ninth inning. And I wanted to go somewhere else, but my friend wouldn't let me. He's like, "How dare you leave? He's got a no-hitter. You must stay here to ensure the juju." And you know,
Sure
it
was
was.
your fault.
I mean, I was drinking Castle Bright because everything else was too dark and too heavy.
Yep.
But I mean, now I could probably drink like their black IPA, and it's not only because my palate has grown, but I think their portfolio and their recipe book has grown. So I think two things have occurred in the generality of craft beer is these Kunins, Dragon Meads, these old places have seen where the time has gone and adapted to them to stay relevant. Because I couldn't have drank, like I remember going and watching like Rick Pitino play Louisville his first year at Kentucky, or first year at Louisville, rather, in the NCAA tournament, just sitting at Dragon Mead drinking like the lightest beer they had. because I was still a natty light guy. Because 4.5% alcohol and I can drink it all day
Right.
is what I want to do, not an 8.5 IPA, 8.5% IPA that I'm licking postage stamps on is, so.
So for me, yeah, it was definitely Ghetto Blaster and Final Absolution. Sorry, trailed off for a second. I really didn't get into, even when I would want like craft beer, I never really sought out Michigan craft beers. Like I went to Black Lotus a few times, Dragon Mead. There wasn't really like during that beginning few years, that 2007 to 2012, 2013. There wasn't really that much of a scene around here, and
Like,
it's changed.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Rochester Mills. You would think of that like they used to be more like brew pubs. Like a Rochester Mills, were like a Baraboo, where
Yeah.
they would brew their own beer, small batches, just enough to keep it on the tap, but nothing that you would see in stores or all that stuff. And not Rochester Mills, but Baraboo is.
Yeah, but
know?
it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's no breweries around it, so that's how Baraboo survives.
Well, actually, there's a lot of housing around it,
Yeah.
and it's owned by a restaurant group. So it even if it
Oh
doesn't
yeah, that's right. We learned that, didn't we?
I learned that the kind of inappropriate way. But like that's that whole area is just that Fraser area is really weird. Like I'm sure we'll talk about it in the next segment with Oak Park now having a new brewery.
Yes, but
And St. Clair Shores now having only 2 breweries. But
I'll kind of leave that part to you.
Nick,
Sounds like you want to talk about that.
Yo.
you know, we've grown up drinking together.
Yes, we have.
What was your first introduction into the craft beer, not scene, but
Yep.
like craft beer itself?
So we would hit up the Snookers over there on Kelly Road in East Point. That would be like our place Thursday nights.
Industry night.
Yep. And that's where mutual friends of ours, like our buddy Ryan, who did the original incarnation of Better on Draft.
Yes,
Ryan
Brown.
Brown.
oh, his name's Ryan.
Yeah, his name is Ryan.
I thought it was like a Michael or something.
Anyways,
like a Michael
anyways,
Italian.
he would drink the Killians and the Guinness, and I'm like, okay, what the hell is this stuff? And so then that's how I started getting into stuff outside of like the macros that we're
Yellow
familiar
beers.
with. Yes, exactly.
YBs.
And then one day he brings up this place called Dragon Mead. I'm like, what? What is this place? I never even heard of it. And it was literally almost across the street from my aunt's house in Warren, basically. So we go there. I don't know what to expect at this point. That was my first real adventure into craft beer. You know, the Final Absolution. The Ring of Fire was what really threw my mind for a loop. I'm like, how can you make a beer infused with hot peppers? That's what really tripped my mind up.
I've
and
not
I
had
think,
that one.
and I think, because I actually had it the first time I was there. I got the little the flight, and I think it was that particular beer that kind of opened my mind up to trying different things, because there's just so many different tastes out there,
Right.
so many different flavors. I felt like I felt like I was missing something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that flight at Dragon Mead was kind of like the opening of the door, opening of the portal kind of thing in my world of craft beer.
And I think I'm going to move it over to like cooking. Like,
Yes.
I didn't really cook a lot till I was about 24, 25 when I started teaching myself to like not eat ramen every day.
Scavenger.
But before then, I wouldn't touch an onion if it was within 10 feet of me.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up food, for example, because when I was older, I didn't have a complete shit diet. I mean, I would have salad. I mean, I had a pretty diverse diet at the time, but I was pretty limited to certain things. Up
Chicken
until-
fingers and mac and cheese.
Sure, we'll call it that. But once I got into college, and you go to school at Wayne State, for example, and you have Detroit, and you have all these different places, all these different restaurants and breweries, might I add. It just as you get older, you start doing and start trying different things, food, beers. That's when I was first introduced to Motor City Brewing Works, Ghetto Blaster, Nut Brown, their blueberry something that they make. I forgot what it was. That was like the next big dive into craft beer for me. Especially with all the food that was, going on around there, all those restaurants and everything.
Well, my thought is like, now I got into beer, kind of via
Yep.
fruit.
Yeah.
And then you start with your your grapefruit hops and your fruity hops.
Yeah.
And you move down it. And it's like kind of cooking, and we've
Yep.
had a lot of breweries with restaurants who bring on their chefs and
Yes.
they talk about how beer and food are the same because you like one ingredient and then you try something tied to another ingredient, and then all of a sudden you're more confident with it and you appreciate it and you move on. So
I think it's how a lot of these brewers actually work with their, do their craft anyway. They find they like Galaxy hops, for example. I'm pulling one from the sky.
That's fine,
They love how it works. They love how it makes they like the end result of it when they use it. Like you said, same thing applies to food. If you find that truffles are something that you really enjoy cooking with, you want to take that to the next level. Same thing applies to beer. You take a hop or you take a certain kind of yeast, or some random ingredient.
you just follow it down its trail.
Bath in with your punchkis. Who would have thought that was gonna be something? But that's out of the box. That's what makes this craft beer thing so exciting. Is the stuff that's out of the box. Never imagine that someone would take jalapeno peppers or habanero peppers, whatever the hell they use at Dragon Mead,
and then throw that in there
and throw it in a beer.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand like strawberries, and I can kind of understand other citrusy type fruits, but jalapenos.
Because they want to get all up in your business.
Oh,
my God.
Come on.
With
And
that,
with
we're
that
going to take
said-
a quick break. We'll be right back.
my
Better on Draft
God.
Podcast.
And that's why it's not the red green giant. It's the Jolly
Oh.
Green Giant. not the
Oh, okay.
Jolly Red Giant.
That makes sense.
I can't even. I can't. You know what?
He got muted.
Welcome back. Better on Draft Podcast, episode 144.
I thought that was why white women always came in odd numbers, because they can't even.
It's me and Nick here, as everyone else is muted.
Yeah, buddy.
And Nick is so far away from the mic that I can't even pick up his loud
Well, you don't have to
voice.
worry about muting.
Wow,
me
this is
then.
a shit show.
Here is Robert with
No. Here is Robert with the beer news. Segment 2, provided to you by Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of M59 on Rochester Road.
North of F59.
South of M59, north of South Boulevard.
Wow.
You're done.
I was thinking if I could trick him because I always get it wrong with
Yeah.
North Center Brewing.
Go say hi to Jack. They got plenty of stuff, including
My favorite cigars.
It's a Boys. Did you hear his wife has a bunch of unreleased stuff she's going to start releasing?
Jack has a wife?
No. Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, yes, I did.
Mitch Hedberg.
No.
So there's going to be some new Mitch Hedberg stuff dropping out soon.
What? I didn't know he was I didn't know he was married.
I didn't know either.
Is this one of those posthumous things?
I don't know. I don't think he died unexpectedly, so I don't think he got married like on his deathbed, nor do I think he got married.
There was a whole conspiracy theory thing about some lady that claimed that she was engaged to some dude who died in 9/11 and got married to him and then ran the 9/11 Victims Fund and took a whole lot of money from it. So
I do know that story, but
her
no.
name's Tammy. That she's not good.
Her name's Tammy. Okay. Any Tammy's listening out there, Matt says
I don't like you.
he doesn't like
You're
you.
just generally bad people.
But as always, segment 2, the beer news.
Oh man, it is a good day to be back here talking about the news. Even though I don't really have that much, because the last 2 weeks of my life has been interesting.
I think we can let's just get the story over.
We'll get.
Let's just do it.
Should I start dancing?
Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
First story.
First story. We're gonna have to clip this too, by the way. Good thing I know how to use freaking Adobe. So Shipwreck.
We had a closing this week.
I mean, is this the point where we play "My Heart Will Go On"?
Womp womp.
All right, calm down.
Yeah, I
Calm
know.
down. A friend of ours lost a job.
A friend of ours will find another job. He's a
Oh, I know he will, but he did lose a job. So Shipwreck went out of business.
They
and
went
you
under?
wanna- That was actually, you know what? No, that was no. Now you're done.
Now he's done.
Now you're done. So Shipwreck went out of business. They definitely hit the ground. Not running. They just hit. No, you're muted right now. You're muted for a few minutes. they hit the ground and just really couldn't catch up. So when they first started, their beer was extremely subpar, and that's not to be rude to that's overselling what it was. Their food program I heard was all right, but I heard their service, no, Matt's saying no. Their service was probably one of the worst services out there. And really they just couldn't stay afloat. They couldn't get
out of their own way.
Damn it.
they
I'm
couldn't
trying not to
Son of a
laugh
bitch.
on this, but there's too many damn puns in here.
So they really just couldn't get to it. And I was talking to Matt before the show, I was talking to Rob, and we were trying to think of another business or another trademark or another beer or something that just it came out and something just was so bad that there was no way they could get out from around it. Like they could, no matter what, they could have made drafting tables Malo and still got under. Like I can't think of any other businesses who just went flat so hard during the release. And when with beer, especially in this industry, and you have two really close breweries who are doing really good, you can't hit that ground and just not.
Would the Nintendo Virtual Boy count?
You know what?
Maybe,
That's probably
yeah.
a really good.
Sega Saturn.
Well,
we'll stick to the Virtual Boy.
Well, just to kind of counteract Matt's point.
We're talking about
I know, but Saturn,
right?
the Sega Saturn had an okay library.
Yeah, it's more Sega CD than Sega Saturn.
Yeah, the Virtual Boy was hyped up.
Is it the one with the goggles where you?
Yes.
Everything was like
Everything's
3D, red and black.
It was.
I didn't mind that.
I didn't mind it either, but I didn't really play it that much.
Game Boy Color.
No, that
was
hard.
okay.
Yeah.
That was okay.
That was a really good
The Virtual
release.
Boy was hyped. I remember because I actually had Game Informer magazine right when it first came out, and they hyped up Virtual Boy. I'm talking about Nintendo so hard that they were talking that this is going to be big. It was going to be huge. And then it just kind of released and just disappeared right before you knew it. In the end, they only had enough games to kind of fit in one hand. Like they had like 17 games. It was bad. It was very, very bad. And it was, I think it was on the shelf and off the shelf in like within a year. I think.
Yeah, there's a game out there called Game Dev Tycoon that makes a huge joke about it in the middle of the game.
I haven't seen it, but I know the game.
But with Shipwreck, you like in this industry, you have like if you're not going to be that small town brewer that you're Wiltse's or somewhere where you're the only like Charlotte Brewing where you're nothing against them, they actually make decent beer. But if you're not going to be that and you're going to try to go up against really good beer all around the area, you can't come up with such a bad start. Yes,
Right.
Matt.
First off, I think I called this because I said they're going to try to make it through the summer, and that'll be the place that's empty the entire summer. And if you're empty in St. Clair Shores on the water,
you're not going to make it.
you're not going to make it.
No, you're
even
not
if
gonna make it.
if people go to all the packed bars and then they find the one place that's empty and then they won't even go there, it's done.
Yes.
The issue is, all of us beer nerds are very social media savvy.
Yes.
And the moment they had bad beer, and they never put a mea culpa, instead they fought people about how their beer wasn't bad, that was it. Like, there was no coming back.
Well, there was a time where the owner was a little hostile towards you, John Piepenbrock, and
that
Spencer.
was 6 months after he fought with people publicly on social media after their soft open. When he asked for people to give him comments, and then he literally like defended himself the entire time. They came on the show.
Yes,
I wasn't
before they
here.
opened.
I wasn't here.
It was before they opened.
They seemed like nice people.
Yeah,
Very,
no,
very
they're
great
very nice
story. Very.
But the thing is, like, if you try to be a part of the community, then you attack the community, then how do you expect the community to embrace you after you've already told you've literally fought with people online about your beer?
Right.
So I remember I went there on St. Patrick's Day this year. It was John Piepenbrock, Leon from then Kuhn and now from Baffin, his wife, and myself. I got an order of the corned beef sandwich, which was chewier than the flip flop that I'm wearing right now. They asked me how it was. I said, well, it was really chewy. And he said, oh, it didn't taste that bad to me. So he
now you see,
but
now-
so he approaches our table.
yeah,
It's I get the Kolsch because that's what I drink. And then Leon gets the what they call an amber,
yeah.
and John Pipe and Brock gets the stout. So we all get different beers so we can share with each
So you
other.
should swap them around.
So I get a Kolsch that's cloudier than an M43. And I tell him, listen,
A Kolsch that's hazy.
yeah, I said, this isn't a Kolsch because a Kolsch you should be able to see through.
Sure.
To which he says, do you want me to call Hazen? I can call Hazen. He'll tell you this is a Kolsch. Which I also said, I also know Hazen. I can call Hazen. And he'll tell you this is not how you're supposed to have a Kolsch.
Right.
Then Leon, a brewer at Coonan, says, well, this isn't really an amber. This is a red IPA. To which he says, do you want me to call Hazen? This is our red IPA. Or this is our amber. And then he's like, well, what do you guys know about beer? I'm like, well, I kind of have a lot of beer. I used to work for a distributor.
Right, yeah.
And these guys brew beer for local beers that.
They do it for a living.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
like-
So it's. I'm not really sure how to put it. It's like they want to take constructive criticism, but when they hear it, they're
Well,
just like
You have to.
they want to give you the cold shoulder and say, yeah, it's like this one show that I watched, 24 Hours to Hell and Back with Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, yeah. Good show.
Good, it's an awesome show.
He's a little bit overly dickish.
I mean, it's TV,
do
but
you prefer him or Robert Irvine? Because I feel like they're both
Gordon Ramsay.
English dickish.
Gordon Ramsay.
What about Gordon Ramsay or Taffer, John Taffer?
I really don't like John
Uh,
Taffer.
John Taffer's just an ass.
I would. I think I would. I think
But-
if John Taffer worked it, like ran the bar, that I think I would swing on John Taffer. I really think I would. I think I would swing.
I
on
mean,
him.
if you're the owner of an establishment, whether it be a restaurant or be a brewery or some kind of food truck,
you got to be humble.
That's one thing. You have to be humble because, especially now in today's age where iPads,
Social media.
iPhones, social media in general can make and they talk about this in 24 Hours to Hell and Back. Social media can kill you overnight. I mean, it used to be to where it would take time. Now with social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, one bad moment and you're done for.
But on that, this Gary V guy, who I think is the biggest tool in the world right now. All he does is talk about talking
Watch
about
he
talking
listens
about.
to the show.
I would love it. Gary V. I have commented on so many of your posts. What do you do? Anyways, so John Taffer is on his show, and John Taffer says he's the brewery redo guy or a brewery takeover guy.
Gotcha.
He says if you go to a bar or restaurant and you have a positive experience, there's only a 40% chance that you'll go back a second time. If you go back a second time, there's only a 50% chance you go back a third time. But if you go back a third time and you have a positive experience again, there's a 75% chance you go back. So the first two times you go to a place are so crucial that you make that positive impression that you should almost sell yourself out those first two times.
Yeah.
Because on the third and fourth time, they're hooked. They'll always come back.
You know, that's interesting that he puts it that way because I would actually tend to agree. I will agree with that statement. If I have a bad experience at a restaurant, a particular chain at a particular location,
Or even a particular independent restaurant.
or an independent restaurant, but I'm just going to pick on the big ones because I think that happens more with big ones.
Like the
rather than,
Schmettigans?
what's that?
Like the Schmettigans or Schmapplebees or the Schmeeby Fridays?
No, none of those.
More like the Italian McDonald's.
No.
The Schmaliv Garden?
No, I'm
$300 for
we're-
4
we're-
years
You
of
guys
pasta?
can name them all night. You're not going to get it. We'll talk after we
Okay.
go offline.
All right.
Schmurger King.
You know, all it takes is one.
Schmazzolis.
Shut up. All it takes is one bad person to make a experience at a restaurant or a brewery or anywhere else to ruin it, and those percentages now become a factor.
But think about it, and also think
Where
about
if
this.
you don't enjoy it the first time, you're definitely not going to go back. And if you don't like it the second time, after you go in there the first time, say, "Hey, I'll give it another try," then you definitely won't be back.
But think about it this way: negative reviews are active, where positive reviews are passive. So think about it this way:
I will agree with that.
if
too.
you go to a place and you have a bad response or bad experience, the next time you're with a group of friends and you're having a social setting like over beer,
Yes.
you'll say, "Hey, guess what I did the other week? And I went to this restaurant. It was shitty." However, the only time you'll say this place is great is when someone says, "Hey, do you know a decent restaurant in the area where I can go?"
Yeah.
So the times that you talk about shitty restaurants, and
Yes.
we have terrible stories. We're millennials, and we dwell on the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I'll tell
you're absolutely right. We talk more about the bad than we talk about the good.
and we talk about it more often too.
You're right.
Because it's
I
all
agree.
because what we do is the story is bad the first time, it's awful the second time, and
it's horrendous the third time.
and we've like rehearsed the story by 5 and 6 and 7.
Yeah.
That it's like literally the worst thing in the entire world, where nobody will ever go.
I Matt, for the first time in a long time, I agree with you on something on this show. So we're gonna high five and we're gonna drink some beer right now. This freaking 2015 Dragons was really fucking good.
And with the news we have,
We're gonna let's just go to overtime now.
All right. So, speaking of, since Matt had a Keystone over there, this one's straight.
He's got a
up-
Milwaukee's best light right now.
I have a Keystone Ice. by
Yes,
the way.
yes, a Keystone, but
Ice.
you have a Keystone
Ice.
which is where this is going. So a couple Grand Rapids breweries are having themselves a bit of a dust up right now when it comes to what's in a name. Railtown Brewing is not happy with another brewery, which is going by the name of Railbird, which is citing issues with the name being too close to theirs. In the beginning, it started out as a conversation to basically try and come to amicable terms. Apparently, they were just meeting up, trying to talk over it, talk over a couple beers over the whole situation. Railbird was not relenting in changing their name or doing anything of that sort. Railtown then decided they were going to send a cease and desist letter to Railbird, which of course did absolutely nothing because Railbird just didn't care. And basically Railbird was just like, this is our name, this is what we're going for, and this is just what we're going to do. Railtown then decided to file a federal lawsuit against Railbird, citing the new brewery's name is likely to continue to confuse, mislead, or deceive consumers. Railtown requested that the court issue an injunction preventing Railbird from continuing to use the name, remove all mentions of the name from his business, and pay for Railtown's damages and attorney fees. So much so that Railtown is alleging that Railbird is acting willfully to infringe on this mark, that Railtown is asking the court to award triple damages in this case.
Hold on, so who's the Railbird is the original?
No, Railtown is
Railtown is the original.
Railtown is the original. I think Railtown. I probably have to go back to the article to remember, but I think Railtown's been around since like 2010. It's either 2010 or 2014, but I think it was 2010.
So Railbird then.
Railbird
the fake.
is the brewery that is opening.
It's in Byron Center, right?
It is in Byron
That's where
Center.
TJ Hooker's from.
Yes, exactly.
Where is
most
Railtown
random-
from then?
So that's the thing, is that these two breweries are less than 10 miles apart.
Okay.
I don't know if Railtown is actually in Byron Center, but that is basically the fact that they are, I think someone was actually quoted in the article that they were 9.8 miles apart.
Well, I think I read the article, and people have been going to Rail Yard, the actual brewery, saying,
Railtown.
Railtown. They say, "Oh, you're opening up another brewery over on the other side of town." And they're having to say, "No, we're not. That's not us. That's somebody else
Right.
on the other side of the tracks, if you will."
Exactly. And according to the article, this was in MI Biz, Justin Butler, I'm just going to go with that, hopefully that's pronounced correctly, he's a co-founder of Railtown. They had also offered, prior to the lawsuit, they had offered to help Railbird finance the initiative to rename and rebrand their products, to which Railbird declined. So, this essentially kind of feels like it's Hogfish all over again,
no.
or Keystone versus Stone in a way. It's
So-
just more local.
I disagree, because it seems like the new brewery is trying to maliciously do it. Because, again, if the guy from Dogfish Head,
Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I didn't mean to snap at you, but you were looking at that way.
Rob,
Yeah, you were looking that way.
we're having a conversation.
Yeah, I'm interrupting. So the name of the brewery is based off of the name of the hotel that used to sit where the brewery is. So it was
The
not
brewery or the
Byron
brewery?
Byron Center Brewery. We'll call them Byron Center. So there's Railtown,
Right.
and then Byron Center Brewing.
Okay.
Byron Center is now Rail Bird, but Byron Center Brewing is opening up their brewery at the former Rail Bird, either hotel or restaurant or something like that. It was
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
yes. So it was an actual Rail Bird existed prior to Rail Bird Brewery, Byron Center Brewery. So they didn't create the name in an attempt to as a fuck you or I'm gonna try to mess something up to Railtown. I think they just didn't.
Kind of an homage.
Well, yeah, they were doing an homage to the previous tenant of the building.
But my thought is, if somebody who has a similar name comes to you and says, "Hey, we will financially help you rebrand," and you still say no, then I think it does become a fuck you and a.
But then at that point, then it's not really about. I feel like it is that homage that you're paying tribute to what was there before you.
But could you not, like, just if it was a hotel, could it not be Hotel Brewing Company or Byron Center Brewing Company
Hotel Railbird or Bird Rail? I mean, what do you
or
want them to do?
HBC?
HBC Brewing.
Like, I guess the thought is, there's always a way around it. There's, again, we talk about our friends of the show, like Baffin. They went through 10 different names that got kicked out by people because, like, Short Tails Brewing Company. You know, that's not as close as Railtown to Rail Yard or Railbird or whatever it is.
No, it's not.
So the thought is, there's genuine. We've talked about, is Dogfish Head and Hogfish Head going to cause?
No, it's just Hogfish, no head.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just Hogfish. Yeah.
But is Dogfish Head
Yep.
and Hogfish? We talked to the trademark attorney, which we tried to record, but we didn't.
Oh, we recorded it. The audio was so garbage that.
But if you're at a bar and you say, "Give me a Dogfish," and they serve you a Hogfish, that causes confusion in the marketplace.
Well, hell,
So
if I
if
go
you're-
to a bar and I order in High Life and I get a fucking Miller High Life, that causes confusion.
True story. It happened. You saw my snap. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
you ordered a High Life and they gave you a High Life.
Yes. True story.
That is.
I ordered a pint of High Life and they gave me a bottle of High Life. Which I drank, and it was like $4 less than I thought it was going to be. But then I also had High Life to drink, not High Lie.
Right.
So
That goes to untrained staff. The thought is, though, like, let's imagine me and you are going out. Like, we're not on a date.
hey,
But like, hey, I'll meet if we're in St. Clair Shores and I say, let's go to Flamex. Are we going to Flamex or are we going to Jamex? We could hear different and go to different bars, and then I could call you and say, hey, I thought you were coming to Flamex, and you said, oh, I thought you meant Jamex, and we've gone the opposite direction, and that's caused confusion in the marketplace.
so the goal is to cause confusion, and what Railtown is saying is that a lot of people are thinking they're opening up a secondary location
Correct.
down the road.
Yes.
And at that point, that's where confusion in the marketplace happens. If somebody thinks that you're opening
Flamex.
up a second, you're opening up Jamex too, but it's really Flamex, and you're not opening up, somebody else is. So they released 6 hours ago a letter to the Byron community in regards to the fact that
Byron Center community?
they said the Byron community, not Byron Center. So I assume maybe it's slang for Byron Center.
or it's to the left of Byron Center.
To the left. To the left.
So when they talk
Irreplaceable.
about it and they're talking about the trademark, they filed with the Patent and Trademark Office, which does happen, and they allow trademarks. But the thing is that they can't search for all trademarks to see if it's going to cause confusion in the marketplace. Their job is just to make sure there's no other trademark for Railbird Tap House and Brewery. Oh, there's not. Here you go. So when someone comes up, just like when Hogfish, the reason Hogfish got caught was because they filed for their trademark, got it, and then lost it in the fight against Dogfish Head. Same with Namaste Brewing. Namaste trademarked it, came on Dogfish Head's
Radar.
and they're like, hey, no.
You should change it, and they're like, nah, I'm stay.
We need to limit you on like 6 puns a day and have like a cross off every time you tell a pun.
Bingo.
I'm gonna make that sign for next show.
So, in conclusion, like, me, I'm all for there's definitely a place and time, and I'm probably hypocritical wherever I make my decision, but this is not a place to not only stand your ground, but think that having Railbird, like you were asked before you opened
to change it.
To
And
change
you were
it.
offered money to change it.
Yeah, you
To
were
rebrand.
given an opportunity and monetary compensation due to this issue.
And it's all, I mean, for all of you listeners, Byron Center is like farm country. So we're not talking like you're in like a municipal, like a metro area. You're like out of nowhere. So you have to drive 5 to 10 miles to go to your grocery store, to anywhere you want to go. So driving 5 miles to a brewery is common. So if you drive 5 miles to the other one, it's probably also common. So the issue is, like, if there was like Motor City, like we have Motor City Gas Works and we have Motor City
just gas.
and Motor City Brew Works, right?
Yep.
They don't fight each other because they both run independently and nobody fights over, that. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, if it was like Motor City in Nowheresville and like next to Nowheresville, then there would obviously be an issue. I think if they were in Detroit, there would be an issue because then there would be a commonality of a lot of people, a lot of beer, a lot of things to do. But they're in BFE. There's Buxtehude, is the Germans would call it. But
Yeah.
fucking Egypt.
Yes, I got the reference. Thank you. Thank you for spelling that
We
out.
needed that. Thank
We
you,
got
man.
No, I got
We
it.
got that,
I
yes.
got it. Yeah, it's definitely a case by case thing, and in regards to it, like my personal opinion, and where I'm for Hogfish, I'm for Namaste Brewing. I am not for Railbird Brewing in regards to trademark.
What?
He wants to know your opinion.
Just thoughts.
Way too freaking close. I'm gonna say no. I'm not for this either.
What do you think, Rob? I mean, you're like, what if I came out and what if I called myself, maybe Colbert?
Then
Stephen Colbert?
Then you'd have to
Colbert.
deal with a late night host. You would have to deal with me.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, what if I said Robert, but it's Bare?
So your mail review name would be Robert because you'd be like,
Well, what if I
naked?
called myself Rob Ear?
Rob Ear.
Yeah.
Like if you.
I am your Sporkle host, Rob Ear,
There-
not to
there-
be confused with Robert.
There,
even
there
though
was
it's spelled
always
the same.
there was always this thing where if I opened up a bakery that I would call it Robert's. So
Robert Claus?
So yeah, exactly. I would make bear claws. That would be like almost my
Robert
trademark thing.
claws are like
That's all he would make.
Exactly. It would
Would
just
they be like
it
in the
would
shape
just
of oars and paddles?
be more than likely.
Robert Claus?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you have the Winklevoss running crew?
Probably not. I don't.
All
wanna deal with that.
right, we are we ran long in the first segment, so we're just going to talk about Railbird as well as Shipwreck. We will be right back. Better on Draft Podcast. And we are back, episode 144, Better on Draft Podcast. How crazy is it? We are on our way to our 3rd year anniversary. Oh, Jesus Christ. As Matt is bringing in 4 cans of beer, we've got Natty Light, PBR.
Nick, you want to come help me out?
What's is that Labatt Blue or Bush Light and Miller High Life or High Lie if you're ordering. So as always with segment 3, we play a game with Matt Bush. Matt apparently does not know how to pour beer within a 10-minute time frame. I assuming he was using the restroom. Who cares? Rob, you're here with me. Oh yeah, you should probably
Yeah,
get
that would
un-
help.
Get unmuted.
I just want to make sure that I thought it was muted.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, this is.
Did you pour me little
I
sips?
tried to pour you a littler one, too.
Littler.
Littler.
Here's cup number 3.
Cup number 3.
I
thank
love
you.
how this can over here just has the on it. Which,
For what can?
it's labeled on this side as
Cup number 4.
Oh, there's 2 cans that are labeled as the big one.
The big one. I think that's the
So it's
Budweiser.
The one next to the Miller High Life.
Yeah, that's the Bush Light. Yeah, they're both the 25 ounce.
Yeah.
That's one. Shit.
The big one.
What is there 5 questions today, Matt, or is it simply
4 beers.
just 4 beers?
Instead of 5 questions, it's 4 beers.
So 4,
I have 2 of them.
3.
2 twos.
I got 4, 3, 1. I got 4, 3, 1, 2. So I'm good.
I just can't draw.
Well, then what the hell's with that?
This is what we'll do later.
So much for organization. All right, I've got 3.
What is this, a 5? No, it's a 3.
Is this a niner in there? You call him from a walkie-talkie?
No, it's cordless. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That means I got 5 beers.
What's this then?
That's a 2.
How's it 4? It's 4 beers. I only have I do not have a 2.
Can we mute him anyway?
All right.
All right.
So when I think of football, I think of.
You think of bad beer.
I think of. I do. I think of
The Miller Lite Room.
the Miller Lite Sweets.
Beers
Or
that
tap room, rather.
remind you of the Cleveland Browns. I'm going like $100,000 pyramid right now.
So I think of budget beers when I think of football.
Okay.
So we have the 4 most common budget beers in front of us.
That you won't find at a football
I don't think a
stadium.
budget beer right now, considering DirecTV decided to take $86 out of my account for NFL ticket that I thought I canceled.
Shit.
Just call. I actually had that same fight. I called. They reversed it.
Yeah. Hey,
So, anyways, we have 4 cups in front of us, labeled 1 through 4.
All right.
I want we did this with the macro lagers, the Bud Light,
Solid.
Miller Light,
Oh.
Coors Light.
Now we're doing this with shitty.
We,
So
we did
now-
it with Solid Gold and Beer Me and a few
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
And we did Milwaukee's Best, and we did Miller Lite, and Milwaukee's Best still beat Beamer, but that's not for us to know. So I want to walk us through budget beers today. Rob's going to say they all taste like Lever 3000, and that's fine.
Are you
Or
gonna say, I'm going to
Irish
say
Spring.
they taste like City Club? Well, there's no Budweiser.
There's no
here.
Budweiser. So what I want to do is I want to see A, which one you think is best, and B, if you could name what you think the beers are.
Oh.
Wow.
Shit. So all right, let's all grab number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1.
All right.
I don't smell anything in number 1.
Smells fine to me.
Yeah, it just smells like a light beer. Like, oh, these are all light, so none of them are ice, so we're not going to get any watery, like
No, that's why I
really
drank the ice
watery.
beforehand.
Ah.
I had to urinate really bad at the.
I taste nothing here. So,
yeah, I'm not tasting anything. It's
It's
definitely not
manageable.
PBR. It's definitely not
Yeah,
High Life.
It's not PBR.
This has got to be like natural or Bush. I can't even tell you the last time I drank any of these beers. Minus they're like.
I don't think
sans
I've ever had
PBR.
Bush Light.
You've never had Bush Light?
No, or
What?
Natty.
I feel
Light.
like you've lost out of part of your childhood if you've never had Bush Light.
No, dude, I never did.
So that's a little bit. I'm definitely getting the that like. I'm trying to think
Water.
of like not like a weedy type taste that comes
like
from those
weed,
beers.
like marijuana weed
No,
or
wheaty.
wheaty? Like wheat.
Yeah, not Wheaties.
Like
but
Bruce Jenner. Wheaties.
Wheaty. No, not Wheaties. Just wheat. Like just a
So
really
like
weird like
maybe this is Bush Light.
I don't know. Let's
right.
what are you guys getting for number 1? Anything else?
I'm not really getting anything.
No.
No.
But you're not supposed to. So,
I definitely don't believe this is PBR.
No,
So,
I know it's not PBR.
cup number 1 out of 10 stars. Out of 10? What do you get? Cup number 1.
I'd give it a 4. It's a crushable beer.
Rob,
I give it an easy 2.
Nick.
I'll go one up. I'll give it a 5.
So we have like 3.5. Okay.
3.5. All right. Let's put up number 2. Number 2. All of these beers, by the way, are yellow.
Yeah.
Just pure
All these
yellow.
beers can be found
So
at
to
Zatuna
anyone that from the
They
Bruce
can be
Brothers
found
that's
at
watching,
Zatuna Liquor-
that's listening to this, we apologize.
You know where they can't be found at? Brown Iron Brew House over in North Center, Michigan.
You know what?
over in Washington.
Hey Wayne, next time you're on, I'm gonna punish you like this as well. And you know it's gonna be flavors of Four Loko.
He's
No, it's gonna be like Four Loko, Steel Reserve, and Natty Crush.
This
Just
is going to be one of those where I'm not here.
All right. So number
number
2.
two.
Number two.
Number 2.
let's see.
I got nothing on the smell.
Is
A
there
little
any notes
soapy.
for any of you?
A little soapy.
yeah.
Little soapy. Little soapy. This is like a combination of like just suave.
I'm pretty sure that's High Life. I'm pretty sure number 2 is High Life.
Damn it.
That tastes like bowling to me. That tastes like something
Nick?
I would have drank at bowling.
I'm gonna agree with Ken.
Rob, thoughts besides that wince? We have to get
I'm-
that. We have,
I'm giving. Oh, it's on camera. He
needs to be exclusively on Rob because he's the animated one in this one. So
I mean, seriously, if Old Spice came out with a beer.
would that be the Mustafa guy? I'm on the
The
unicorn.
Isaiah
Now look at me
Mustafa.
this way.
Yes, exactly. This. Oh.
So, Ken, out of 10 stars, what would you give beer number 2?
I'd give this one another. Like I'd give this one probably a 3.
Rob?
This is seriously like if Old Spice and Axe actually worked in you getting a girl.
Wow.
Take that, Terry Crews.
Shit.
Well, we're the single ones over here at this table.
Oh, that's
so.
boy.
I mean, this
So out of 10.
out of 10, I mean, I got to go Ed McMahon, and this shit gets a quarter star.
Damn, Nick.
Wow. I'll give this about a 2.5.
Okay, so we have like
About a 1.5, I'd say.
175.
That quarter star is the outlier in this, but it made all the difference.
So beer number 3 is in front of you.
Oh.
Why don't you go ahead and put that in your mouth?
So
Rob?
we just got from Joshua Woodbury. Thank you very much for listening. He says just bought all those brands for the Michigan versus Notre Dame game
Hell yeah.
tailgate. South Bend has them 15 packs for $5.
Hey, Sean, who are you picking tomorrow? What do you think the
Joshua.
Joshua.
What do you think the
Joshua.
score is going to be tomorrow?
What do you think the score is going to be tomorrow, Joshua?
Send us a
As we go into number 3.
If you are closer to the actual score than we are, which we'll predict later, we will buy you a beer.
Is Michigan playing Notre Dame
beer?
tomorrow?
Yeah,
That's
Notre
it?
Dame.
Oh, I didn't even know
that.
Michigan, Notre Dame under the light.
7:30. So you have beer number 3.
Nothing on the smell.
Nothing on the smell,
nothing on the
nothing on
smell.
the taste, even.
All right, hold on. I'm still, I'm still burping up Irish Spring. Give me a second here.
Are you zestfully clean at this point?
A bit, yeah. I think my esophagus is just like complete sparkling.
This is not.
Man, I
vegan.
remember when you started giving us craft beers. I was so happy.
But this is so much more fun.
Yeah.
This is entertainment. That's why we do this, for entertainment purposes. So
I
Ken,
Well, it's a good thing we're on video now, so
Yeah,
everyone
right.
can see
Can we
our
get some taste
reaction.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, the camera's like pointing right at me.
Nick,
Well,
do
no,
you
I
have
can see all you three, and then in the bottom left
Yeah,
corner is
yeah,
my
yeah.
beautiful
Nick, thoughts
mug.
of this beverage?
Another crushable beer if you're a frat guy. in
I mean,
college.
this definitely tastes like beer pong beer. Like
Then again, I was a frat guy in college, so
you were,
I
you were a
was.
frat guy in college.
We've seen the photos.
It's a good thing you weren't a frat guy in like middle
I
school.
know because you got
Rob, this is better.
someone
is this beer,
decided to take my college photos for our bachelor party.
Rob, is this
event.
beer better than, or worse than the previous beer that you did?
It is better than the previous. I mean, I would probably.
I agree.
I mean, in going to any beer fest, I would probably maybe think about putting this one in the Camelback for
So,
clearing the throat.
out of 10 stars, what do you,
I'd give it a 5.
Rob?
I mean, it's pretty much sex in a canoe. So I mean, I'd give it a 4.
I'll give this a 5.
9. So divided by 14, it's a 5-ish, yeah? 4.75.
Yeah.
All right, so lastly, you have cup number 4. Smell, taste, enjoy.
I get more smell on this one.
It's warmer.
They were all in the fridge at the same time. They were both pulled out of fridges at the same time and
Actually, I have nothing.
I don't know, nothing on this one.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything on this. I think I have the numbers.
Which one do you think is PBR?
I think number 3 is PBR.
That's
for
what I
sure.
was thinking.
I think number 2 was the High Life. I think number 4 is Natural Light. Number 1 is Bush Light. But really, it's a toss up between those two.
So what do you think
like-
about number 4?
I mean, number 4 is all right. It's not anything crazy. It's not.
It's just there.
Somebody named Dina says, "Who is that handsome man in red?" So that would be
That'd be your husband.
that would be Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Dino. Love you.
So number 4. Nick, do you have any
4,
tasting
like,
notes on number
it's-
4?
I got nothing on this.
Which is
It
crazy.
literally tastes like nothing.
Bland nothingness beer.
Bland nothingness.
Rob,
Plain
is
old
this
beer.
better or worse than the previous beer you
It
said?
pretty much tastes like somebody just went to a water cooler, put water in it, and had a tea bag full of wheat,
All right.
and just steeped it in here for 3 minutes.
You know how plain this beer is? You remember the cans of beer where it was just a white background with black lettering that said beer? That's how plain that is.
Can you scream that louder into the microphone, please?
Yes, I can. But I'm
This is like something that you buy,
Okay.
like
No, if you go to-
Chatham, a Great
So-
yeah,
Scott, or
no, if you
something.
go to the
Let's-
Frankenmuth Beer Museum right there in the downtown area.
yeah,
The
The
downtown.
downtown.
the downtown.
So, Ken, out of 10,
That's what this is. A plain old white can of
Ken, out of 10, what
plain
does this
old
get?
beer.
This out of 10 will give another 4.
Rob?
I mean, all these beers are just they're crushable. They're easy to drink. They're not bad. They're nothing to write home about. But
no.
2.5.
I mean, for this one, I kind of like 3 just because it essentially just tasted like nothing, and just this weird the wheat coming in at the end. I'm not liking with it, so I got to scale this one back, and I think I got to give this one a 3.
Okay, 7.
2.5.
So 9.9. So we'll give it a 3.3. 3.25. All right, so cup number 1 got a 3.5. Cup number 2 got a 1.75. Cup number 3 got a 4.75. And cup number 3 got a 4.75. And cup number 4 got a 3.25. So out of PBR Natty, Bush, and High Life, you had a guess which is which.
I'm pretty locked in. Number 3 is PBR. Number 2 is High Life. Number 4 is Natural Light. And number 1 is Bush Light. That's pretty much.
Team?
Like, and really 1 and 4 could go either way because I couldn't even tell you the difference, but I'm pretty positive in the other two, especially PBR is number 3.
I mean, the only one I could even remember actually having, voluntarily was High Life during episode 40, and I don't remember what the fuck that tasted like back then either. So I got no clue.
Nick, do you have any? Do you disagree with Ken on any?
I'm going to say I agree with 3. PBR is number 3. The other 3, honestly, it's a toss-up.
I mean, I would go with that too because
So-
with the awards that PBR has won, I mean that was the best
Labatt
one
also
for
won
me.
Blue
I
Ribbon.
mean,
Well, yeah, Labatt,
I
but
mean, out of those 4, PBR is my favorite a long shot.
So, if I told you that you have 2 out of 4 right, would you change your guess?
I would change 1 and 4.
Okay, then you are correct.
Okay.
Number 1 was Natty, which got the second highest rating. Number 2 was High Life, which got the lowest. PBR at 4.75 out of 10. Out of 10. And 3.25 stars goes to Bush Light.
Yeah.
That's
to PBR.
That's a 2 out of 5 on a scale of 5.
So I do have some questions if you'd like to play a game.
yeah, swing them out.
Do it.
This Texas university offers a class in beer geography. Is it A, TCU, B, Baylor, 3, Texas Tech, or 4, SMU, Southern Methodist University?
Methodist.
I mean, I
I'll
feel
take
like
Texas.
I feel like
I-
it's not the
Tech.
first two because they're Christian universities, and
It was TCU
It's
and
Southern Methodist.
TCU,
and Southern.
Baylor, Texas Tech, SMU.
Baylor's a Christian school.
Yeah.
Isn't Baylor's a Mormon school, isn't
Is it?
No, it's just it's a Baptist show.
Baptist.
It's West Texas Baptist College.
Gotcha.
I thought Methodist
Then
didn't give
I'm
a
gonna
fuck.
probably go Texas
I'm going Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Texas Tech.
The answer is TCU.
What?
What?
The horned frogs?
They're actually lizards, but yeah, horned frogs.
The horned frogs.
Which are actually lizards, not amphibians.
Wow. Okay.
So, as any basic white dude from Detroit, I wanted to listen to the Eminem CD today.
I did too.
I
did
did not.
too.
I did not.
So today I downloaded Spotify for the first time ever.
yeah, congratulations.
Is there anything that you guys have been holding out this entire time, and you've bucked the trend? Like literally, it's been a year since I only downloaded Netflix like a year ago, and I just started Spotify. So, is there anything that like everyone else does that you just haven't gotten to? I mean, not cable because I know that you're a little.
Not really.
Is there anything that, like?
where like I'm like everyone else is doing something, and I'm like, meh.
Well, like I had Spotify, but it seemed like everybody else in the world had Spotify.
Yeah, because
So-
it's better than every other.
Yeah,
Amazon
Pandora,
Music.
I mean, it's all the
All
same.
I gotta do is look at their stock price. Almost everybody's got Spotify.
Yeah, it's basically like what's crazy is think about it. 15, 18 years ago, we were all had no issues
Napster.
not paying for music and getting everything through
still have no
the
issues.
virtual SDD called Napster.
Yeah, exactly.
But now,
LimeWire, BearShare.
yeah, BearShare, Kazaa,
LimeWire.
or you could pay for Kazaa or get Kazaa Lite.
Right.
You know,
Morpheus.
Morpheus.
Oh,
I remember
Morpheus.
I remember
Yes.
uploading my entire computer to Morpheus by accident once. That was fun.
So I don't think there was anything that I've ever really been behind on the trend.
Look,
in
aren't you
regard-
cool?
Yeah, usually I don't think I was in front of the trend. I think I kind of just hopped on when the trend happened. There was nothing really that I was gonna say. I'm trying to think. I can't think of it.
Rob, is there anything that like?
Shit, I'm never in front of the trend.
So what's something that like everybody else has done besides you?
actually learned what software upgrades happen on Android phones. I usually it's like stuff happens on those damn phones, and I'm usually the last one to know or
Nick,
even
Nick,
bother to care
we've
about
gotten
it.
two really spud answers. Do you
How
have
about
anything?
Grey's Anatomy? I didn't start watching that till season 11.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna veto that question. Hang on. We'll just dump that the last 2 minutes. All right. I had a very
Probably
stringent.
for the best.
I had a very stringent debate with friends this week. I believe that salsa is the same thing as guacamole, except guacamole has a blanket of avocado in it. Because if you think about it, salsa ingredients and guacamole ingredients are pretty much the exact same, except guacamole has crushed avocado in it. So,
I mean, can you have guacamole without
Avocado.
the onion? No, without the onions
No.
and tomatoes.
no.
So you have to have avocado plus those.
Yeah, so my thought is, am I wrong when I tell somebody that Guacamole is just salsa with crushed avocado inside of it.
Depends on how far you want to take the argument. No,
I want to take this to the death match.
Apparently.
I feel like this
I
is
mean-
going into that whole is a hot dog a sandwich?
Well, that's a question number 2. But the thought is, no, but literally,
Gosh, let's not
if you
talk
take,
about that.
if you go onto like foodnetwork.com and type in recipe for salsa, all of those ingredients will be the same as ingredients you'll find in guacamole, sans smashed
I mean-
avocado. Am I right or wrong?
From the basis that you take chips and then you dip it.
No. I mean,
no.
So
hold
French
on.
onion dip is now salsa.
Yeah, right.
I will. Okay. I had a friend.
Wow, I hit a
No,
nerve
no,
on
no,
that
no.
statement.
Debunked.
No, because you know what? Someone took a picture of mint chocolate chip ice cream and said, "This is avocado, or this is guacamole too." No, the ingredients in the ingredients in a standard salsa are also the ingredients in a standard guacamole.
You didn't even let me
True or
fucking
false?
finish.
All right, go.
You're deviating from the norm.
No,
It's true
I'm
or
trying to.
false?
We're having a conversation. We're on a
Salsa
fucking
ingredients-
podcast. We're gonna have a conversation about
Salsa
it.
ingredients are also avocado, or are also guacamole ingredients.
No,
True or
I mean,
false?
from the fact that and I'm just focusing just on salsa. What we know is salsa and guacamole. What we know
Tomato,
is- yep.
onion,
Yep,
cilantro,
yep. Those two
garlic.
things. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not talking about mint chocolate chip or whatever. I'm talking about just those two things from the basis that you dip it and you eat it with tortilla chips. You could say, yes, it's same, just that the primary ingredient as opposed to tomatoes is avocado. But
You've had verde salsa. You've had green salsa.
yeah.
So,
shit,
thus,
yeah,
tomato
verde,
is-
yeah.
What was that? The gateway?
I mean, how do they make verde salsa?
Tomatillo.
Green, yeah,
Tomatillos.
green tomatoes.
Green tomatillos.
Tomatillos.
Green tomatoes. I mean, I guess from that perspective, you could argue for the fact that they
All
could
the
be
ingredients in
same.
salsa are also the same ingredients in a guacamole. Is my argument.
I mean, tomatoes and avocados, don't they both come
No.
from the ground?
That's racist. I don't know. No, avocados.
Fuck, is that racist?
Avocados grow on trees, by the way.
Do they?
Yes. Jamie Foxx owns an
All right.
avocado.
Well, I fucked up once before. Like, I remember in eighth
Where do
grade.
babies come from? I
No.
know.
When I took a quiz in eighth grade as to where eggs came from, and I said eggplant.
Okay. Rob,
Yeah.
are the ingredients in salsa?
Ken knows what's up. Ken's probably heard that story before.
not.
You never heard that story before? Oh shit! I'll have to tell you that one later.
Are the ingredients in salsa the same as the ingredients in guacamole? Sans and avocado.
To my knowledge, that would be correct.
Ken, I know you don't do spicy food.
I don't do either. I don't eat guac or salsa, so
a terrible person.
you know what, Matt? I agree with you.
Okay. All right. Lastly, the NCAA football season started
God, this
last week,
fucking question.
Yes.
so we need to prognosticate.
Oh boy.
ESPN had their takes, and now Better on Draft is going to have their takes.
I have to say, I think they had Michigan in the top four.
Somebody that was drunk
No,
had Michigan.
yeah,
in the top
Michigan.
four.
Someone had Michigan in the top
Also,
four.
Doug Gottlieb, who plays basketball, said that Nick Foles is the worst starting quarterback, and he just won a Super Bowl. So Doug Gottlieb at ESPN should probably stop talking. as
Look,
well.
you can all have good games once in a while.
He had good 7 weeks in a row, but that's fine.
Anyways.
So Nick,
I digress.
who is going to be in your top 4 of the NCAA tournament or of the NCAA football championship?
Wow.
Alabama.
Do I go in order or should I just pick
Just
the top
name 4 teams.
Anybody who you think's going to be there.
Alabama.
Okay.
Shit.
Does anybody disagree about Bama?
No.
Okay, so Bama's a given. So give
I
me
would say,
3 more teams on.
Clemson.
Does anybody disagree with Clemson?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Washington.
The state?
Washington State.
Okay.
Washington's not a bad team.
Wait, Washington or Washington State?
He says-
University of
The
Washington.
Huskies, not the
UW.
Cougars.
I got to ask for
The
specific.
Pac-10 team.
Well, they're
There
both
you go.
Pac teams again. But so you have Bama, Clemson, Washington, and
Ohio State. Because you know why all that shit about Urban Meyer, all that.
Hey, you know what?
Hold on.
I just
All
need to
right, I know,
cover
I
this
know,
up.
I
I just
know.
need to cover
Okay,
this up.
fine. I'm just gonna say because of that shit,
That fucker should be fired.
he's gonna fucking get He's going to go undefeated. He's going to win the Big Ten. Michigan's not going to get the top 4. I don't trust Michigan's going to make it into the playoff. I don't believe it.
Urban should have been fired.
But something's going to happen to Ohio State to where they're going to make it to the college football playoff. So I'm going to go Alabama, Clemson, Washington, Ohio State.
Rob, Ken wants to go. I mean, I already penciled Miami in for you. So
So Alabama,
yeah, obviously,
Miami.
Clearly.
Oh, that you can't even.
Bring it down. A notch.
Let-
Yeah.
You and your Miami.
First of all, go fuck yourself. Third of all,
Here he is rocking you like a hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to see
Okay,
him in 2
Scorpions.
weeks.
Don't tag him like a scorpion.
I'm going to see Miami in 2 weeks. I'm excited.
All right.
They're playing Toledo.
All right. So
in
who else?
Toledo.
2 more.
So
Rockets.
Miami,
Yep.
Alabama,
Yep.
Penn State,
Really?
Georgia.
The Bulldogs.
Rob, do you want to go next or?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Alabama,
Obviously.
obviously. I think Georgia will get back.
Okay.
Couple dark horses.
Is that racist?
It is very racist. As Ken is trying to throw up the U.
Stanford?
I actually
That's
that
actually
was
not a
I was
bad-
actually deciding between that and I think I'm going to go Stanford, and
Another dark horse.
I'm going to go State.
Michigan State.
Yep.
Michigan State, Alabama,
I'd mute you, but the show's almost over.
Clemson.
All right. So Mattaboy is going to go
Yep.
Bama. I think that's a given.
Yeah.
I don't think the SEC is going to get 2 teams in this year. I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Not a bad team.
That's not a bad pick.
Boomer Sooner.
I hate that. I hate that school with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Oklahoma?
I do hate Oklahoma. Because of Jason White, he took so much money from me. I'm gonna go USC.
That's a team.
That was what I was debating between USC and Stanford.
That's a team that has not.
And you know what I'm
that
gonna do?
hasn't done it in a long
You know what I'm gonna
time.
do? Well, they have a college senior or a high school senior playing quarterback this year.
A high school senior.
A guy who's 17 years old. This would have been his.
So he's turning 18 between now and the end of.
Yeah,
the
so
year.
this would have been his.
He's like me.
He would have been a senior in high school this year, but he graduated early. And you know what? I'm gonna go on a goddamn limb and call the Wolverines number 4.
I just.
All right, before we go, I'm going to ask one quick question. Hot take before we leave.
Yep.
UCF goes undefeated again. Do they get into the top 4? Yes or no, Matt?
no.
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 What? Will they or will they get into the top?
No.
If they do, will
If UCF goes undefeated again.
they? No and no. They won't and they won't.
Okay, I don't
They
care.
will be 7-5 at the end of the year.
Okay.
Even
That's
if they
gonna
do,
do
I
it
say
for
no.
us here at Better on Draft. My name is Ken. Thank you, Rob, Nick, and Matt for joining us. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, North Center Brewing in Northville
In
Michigan.
Northville.
There we go. Brown Iron Brew House in Washington Township and Zatuna Liquor in Rochester Hills. Don't forget to check out our website, betterondraft.com. Don't forget to check out our upcoming beer festival, uspbl.com. You can figure out how to get the tickets out there. We are going to be there live. It is in October, 2 weeks before the winter fall beer
You
fest
come
in
shake
Detroit.
my hand when now that I'm be a married man. Then,
Oh, pat you on the
Have
head.
you picked out your ring yet?
as a matter of fact, yes.
Is it just like something you got at Home Depot? Because it's
God damn it, Matt.
That's going to do it. Better on Draft
I'm not
144.
saying
Have a
anything.
great night, no matter what you think of your beer. Ooh, I almost forgot that. 143 episodes. Fine.
we think it's better on
144.
draft, right?
No
We
matter
still-
what you
do we
think of your
still
beer,
the
we
beer's
think
better on
it's
Better,
draft.
better on draft. Have a good night. Peace.
We-